Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivana Dhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivana Dhari Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivana Dhari Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivana Dhari Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Pavirajagacharya Stota Satashi Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. ISKCON founder, BBT founder, Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Pavirajagacharya Stota Satashi Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada Ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Anantagoti Vaishnavrinda Ki. Premsko Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda Ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki. Shri Navavip Mayapur Dham Ki. Shri Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki. Ganga Maya Ki, Yamuna Maya Ki, Bhakti Devi Ki, Tulasi Devi Ki, Shamaveta Bhaktavrinda Ki, Nitai Gauda Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, and thank you everyone for coming. So today we're reading from Canto 4, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chapter 21, Instructions by Maharaj Prithu, text number 10. So word for word first. Ko nu asya kirtam na Shrinoti Abhigyo Yad Vikramochishtam Ashesha Upa Loka Sa Pala Upajivanti Kamam Adyapi Tan Me Fada Karma Shudam Konasya Kirtam Nashrinoti Abhigyo Yad Vikramochishtam Ashesha Pupa Lokasapala Upajivanti Kamam Adyapetan Me Varakarma Shodam Konasya Kirtim Nashrinoti Abhigyo Yad Vikramochishtam Ashesha Pupa Lokasapala Upajivanti Kamam Adyapetan Me Varakarma Shodam Konasya Kirtim Nashrinoti Abhigyo Yad Vikramochishtam Ashesha Pupa Lokasapala Upajivanti Kamam Adyapetan Me Varakarma Shodam Konasya Kirtim Nashrinoti Abhigyo Yad Vikramochishtam Ashesha Pupa Lokasapala Upajivanti Kamam Adyapetan Me Varakarma Shodam Konasya Kirtam Nashrinoti Abhigyo Vikramochishtam Ashesha Pupa Kasapala Upajivanti Kamam Adyapetan Me Varakarma Shodam Nasya Kirtim Nashrinoti Abhigyo Vikramochishtam Ashesha Pupa Kasapalam Upajivanti Kamam Adyapetan Me Varakarma Shodam Konasya Kirtim Nashrinoti Abhigyo Ad Vikramochishtam Ashesha Pupa Lokasapala Upajivanti Kamam Adyapetan Me Varakarma Shodam Ka Hu Nu Bat Asya King Pritu Kirtim glorious activities Nashrinoti does not hear Abhigya intelligent Yat his Vikrama chivalry Uchishtam remnants Ashesha, innumerable, Upaha, kings, Lokaha, planets, Sapala, with their demigods, Upajivanti, execute livelihood, Kamam, desired objects, Adya api, up to that, Tat, that, Me, unto me, Vada, please speak, Karma, activities, Shudam, activities. Auspicious. Oops. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki. Ritu Maharaj was so great in his activities and magnanimous in his method of ruling that all the kings and demigods on the various planets still follow in his footsteps. Who is there who will not try to hear about his glorious activities? I wish to hear more and more about Prithu Maharaj because his activities are so pious and auspicious. Purport. Saint Vidura's purpose in hearing about Prithu Maharaj over and over again was to set an example for ordinary kings and executive heads who should all be inclined to hear repeatedly about Prithu Maharaj's activities in order to also be able to rule over their kingdoms or states very faithfully for the peace and prosperity of the people in general. Unfortunately, at the present moment, no one cares to hear about Prithu Maharaj or to follow in his footsteps. Therefore, no nation in the world is either happy or progressive in spiritual understanding, although that is the sole aim and objective of human life. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Garamayam Dadati Svambarantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savarutam Parijana Shihitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paransaha Gana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kantaram Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sutudevi Pranamami Hari Priye Anshakalpatriyubhesha Kripa Sindhyube Ivacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we'll read the translation again. Prithu Maharaj was so great in his activities and magnanimous in his method of ruling that all the kings and demigods on the various planets still follow in his footsteps. Who is there who will not try to hear about his glorious activities? I wish to hear more and more about Prithu Maharaj because his activities are so pious and auspicious. Hare Krishna, everyone. So, from this verse, we are talking about a few things. We mention a few things, and these are the importance of hearing about the Vaishnavas, and especially in this translation, the importance of hearing about Prithu Maharaj. And not only that, but we are also going to talk about leadership qualities and the qualities that we ourselves can develop that Prithu Maharaj is showing. So Swayam Bhagavan Keshav Maharaj, a few months ago when he came to South Africa, here in Durban, he was giving a lot of lectures about Prithu Maharaj. They weren't like in order necessarily, but the topic was about leadership. So I really, really liked those classes that he gave. He gave a few of them. So he speaks about, he was giving these adjectives of a leader. And he said a leader should be excited, exemplary, empowering, and enduring. So these different E's. So first, a leader like Prithu Maharaj. But when we talk about when we spoke about this, it wasn't necessarily just leaders. It's everyone and anyone, because we can all be a leader in something. We don't have to necessarily be like Prithu Maharaj or like temple presidents, but we can all develop these kinds of qualities and attributes. So a leader is excited. So meaning their enthusiasm to serve, it rubs off on other people. And we see that when like the different swamis come, then all of a sudden everyone is very enthusiastic to do service. So that enthusiasm and that excitement that they have, it rubs off on others to serve. And when you see someone is joyful, like when you see someone in the kirtan jumping and dancing, you also want to, it rubs off on you. So we even see that on Sankirtan, when devotees are doing Harinam and everyone on the street is seeing these happy devotees, you know, it actually makes them naturally inquisitive, and then they want to come and ask, like, you know, what are you guys so happy about? You know, whatever you're taking, I want some of that, you know. So, so that enthusiasm, that excitement. So even without saying anything or preaching to anyone, like devotees on Sankirtan, just by their joy, their enthusiasm, their excitement, it actually affects people and it influences people. So the next E is exemplary. And Srila Prabhupada, he talks about how the best preaching is actually by example. And this is for everyone. Everyone actually has the power to be exemplary. Exemplary in anything, in whatever you do. Like Siyabonga is a student. He can be an exemplary student and devotee studying in Krishna consciousness. Radhika Jivan is a pujari. He can be an exemplary pujari in anything. So we can all be exemplary in whatever we do. So we can always show good characteristics, and we can always try to develop good qualities. You know, even if we cannot be like a leader like Prithu Maharaj, we can always be exemplary in our dealings, how we talk to each other, how we interact with the temple and other devotees. So this means we can always make an effort to show kindness, to show compassion, humility, selflessness. And this can be in any sphere of life. Like I was telling Gora earlier, there was a little mouse that he was just chilling there. I think he's dying, but I felt so sorry for him. And it's also okay to show compassion to other living entities, not just devotees and human beings, but anyone. So, you know, just showing those kinds of attributes we can always try to do. I hope the mouse is okay though. I will go check on him later. So we're actually remembered by our qualities, not always necessarily our achievements. Because we can also tend to be, you know, proud of our achievements or the great skills or talents that we have. So sometimes that can also make us proud. But actually Krishna, what he's looking at is what qualities are we trying to develop internally. So actually in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, text number 13 to 14, one who is not envious, but is a kind friend to all living entities, who does not think himself a proprietor and is free from false ego, who is equal in both happiness and distress, who is tolerant, always satisfied, self-controlled and engaged in devotional service with determination, his mind and intelligence fixed on me. Such devotee is very dear to me. So in this part of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is actually describing a lot of things that we can try to develop to be dear to him. And actually all of that is mostly our character and our qualities. So if we want to be dear to Krishna, we can try follow Prithu Maharaj, we can try follow these qualities that Krishna is telling us to try and cultivate. And then the next E is empowering. So great leaders are empowering and awaken talents and abilities in others. So, and this is also something that all of us can do. We can all empower someone and teach them something that we know. We all know how to do things and we all have some kind of knowledge, but teaching and empowering others is always beneficial. And it's also the best way to avoid enviousness. Like, Srila Prabhupada, he actually told Yamuna Devi, because, she was an amazing cook, and he said, you must teach others your cooking skills, because this will avoid you becoming envious. So this is a nice lesson to learn for all of us, because we have many people that are very talented in so many different ways. But actually, when you empower others and teach others, that's when you can also get the mercy. And it's also a way of cementing our own skills and knowledge, is by sharing it. So, yeah, it's beneficial to us and to the other person when we can actually, share our knowledge. Like, I always think of Mother Sukumari, who teaches everyone how to cook. She's empowering people. And, that makes her a very non-envious person. It shows her humility, and it's giving other people the opportunity to do different kinds of service. So, yes, maybe you can... Shishi Radha Radhanath ki, Shri Govardhan ki, Shri Gaura Hariya ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. So even though you might be the best at something, you might be the best cook or the best kirtaniya or the best whatever, but how nice and fulfilling is it when you can actually give it to someone else and teach them too? Because actually nothing is our own. Even our knowledge, even our skills and our talents, it's all because of the mercy of the Vaishnavas. It's the mercy of Krishna that is giving us this. So nothing is our own, so we must share everything. And that's what leaders do. They empower. And the last E is enduring. So the word enduring, it means, it can mean lasting over a period of time or durable, or it can also mean to suffer something very painful or difficult very patiently. So leaders, their teachings and their guidance, it has the power to last a long time. Like Srila Prabhupada, all of his teachings, it has been passed on. I mean, none of us have actually met Srila Prabhupada, but we are all following his teachings and his guidance. And actually now it's been passed on to us. It's now our responsibility to pass on those teachings. And then the second meaning of enduring means to, suffer something painful or difficult patiently. And Srila Prabhupada, as a great leader, also did that. He endured so many hardships, for us to be where we are now. But that's not to say that we must also go and have heart attacks and, do all of these things, not to say it must be the same. But for us, it can also mean to get out of our comfort zone. We all have our things that we like and things that we do, and other things that we don't like so much and don't want to do. But sometimes it's good to get out of our comfort zone. And we hear of the 3 different kinds of services. Service for the mission, service for service that inspires us personally, and also the needful, the service that is the needful. So sometimes services that are, for the mission, for example, doing book distribution, that might be something that's a bit daunting for some people. Like, I've gone on book distribution many times, but every time it's wow, it gets me. I have to really pray, because it's sometimes very daunting to just go up to people and talk to them. You never know how they might react. You get chased out of places, you get sworn at, so many things. But, going and taking that extra effort, getting out of our comfort zone is, it's very pleasing to Srila Prabhupada, because he endured so many difficulties. And also sometimes doing the needful in the moment can also be getting out of our comfort zone. Like, you might be completely left alone to cook a Sunday love feast, but now you have to do it. It needs to be done. But then actually Krishna will empower you. He sees, okay, this devotee is trying, he's trying to please me. He is trying to get out of his comfort zone. Let me empower him. So, and exactly like Prithu Maharaj, Krishna empowered him. He empowered him to become a great leader. without that empowerment, he wouldn't have been such a great leader. So yes, he's a Shakti Avesha avatar, but that is Krishna's empowerment. So to be a leader, it means to inspire. And to be inspired means to have a vision. And that vision, it might be different for everyone, but when we actually try to align that vision with what Srila Prabhupada wants, what the devotees want, what Krishna wants, then we really become inspired. And when we are inspired by something, then we want to do things, then we have taste, then we have that determination. And also every devotee has the potential to inspire. We all can inspire in different ways, even by not even trying. Like, I think a lot of the devotees here at the temple, living here, or people that come from the outside, I'm always inspired by them, because here they are sacrificing their time, their effort, their energy to serve Krishna. I'm inspired by their intense, deep faith, their steadfastness, their determination. And these are not things they are purposefully trying to do to inspire people. They are just naturally doing these things. So everyone has that potential to inspire in devotional service. And even just the kindness and love that devotees show me, that's also so inspiring. And that inspires us to continue on in devotional service. And even just seeing the different ways that devotees want to serve Krishna, it's always very inspiring. I always look at how the pujaris, different ways, like Gora will always try different ways to do the turban, and it's very inspiring. And it's actually, if we think about it, it's very rare for people to want to completely just give up their time and energy to come and see the Lord. Like Kanea, I'm sure you've been doing exams, and now you're coming and seeing the Lord. It's very lovely. So it's very rare for people to come and do that. So we can always be inspired by devotees and their love. So just actually by us engaging in Krishna consciousness, doing devotional service, we are inspiring each other. And that is exactly what a leader does. That's what Prithu Maharaj does. He's trying to inspire the people. And there are actually a lot of pastimes of Prithu Maharaj in the Bhagavatam. We've been joking that we've been reading about Prithu Maharaj for, we don't even remember how long now anymore. But it just shows you how many pastimes there are about Prithu Maharaj, that I think this whole year has been Prithu Maharaj. But that's just to show you, it's all glorifying his wonderful qualities. And it's to inspire us to try emanate those qualities. So it is possible for all of us. It's not just saying this is for only big leaders. No, not at all. These pastimes are to inspire all of us. Because actually, without good qualities, without good characteristics, we cannot move anyone's heart. No hearts will be actually moved. And of course, being in Krishna consciousness, coming to the temple, one of the main things is to share it with others. Srila Prabhupada, he wanted all of us to share Krishna consciousness. And we cannot do that unless we ourselves develop those good qualities. So even when you look at Srila Prabhupada, and he was preaching to the devotees, they knew nothing about spirituality, but he moved their hearts because he had such purity and he had such good qualities. It's not because he, said, you are not the body. We can all say that to anyone, but are they going to believe us? But it's because of his qualities, his purity, that's how he got through to people. And that again is something all of us can do. We can all develop those qualities. So in the purport of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 20, text number 16, these qualities of devotee, 26 in number, are as listed as follows. Kind to everyone, does not quarrel with anyone, fixed in the absolute truth, equal to everyone, faultless, charitable, mild, clean, simple, benevolent, peaceful, completely attached to Krishna, has no material hankerings, meek, steady, self-controlled, does not eat more than required, sane, respectful, humble, grave, compassionate, friendly, poetic, expert, and silent. So these are all really wonderful things that, devotees have, which we can all try. We can all be kind to everyone. Kindness, sometimes it's actually very difficult because we don't want to be kind in the moment. But kindness is something we all can do. To not quarrel with anyone, also difficult, but also something we can do. Fixed in the absolute truth. So always, no matter what we do, no matter what we think or feel, to always just remember that we are on this path of devotional service. I'm not going to go through all of them, just some of them. Completely attached to Krishna. So it's said that even if you cannot develop any of the good qualities of a devotee, if you become attached to Krishna, that's all you need. Meek, meaning, we are humble. We are trying to, not make a big show of ourselves. Steady, which is also very difficult. But no matter what, it's always just trying to come and do devotional service. And the last one, silent, doesn't mean like don't speak. Just, how Krishna says that we should, talk about things that actually matter. Talk about Krishna, talk about devotees, talk about the instructions of the spiritual master. So not to be silent, but to not talk about non-important things. So we can actually say that leaders can be called faith builders. They build faith. But this is best done through our own character. And we see in the world, we see in society that the influence of Kali Yuga, it causes chaos, it causes destruction in communities because Kali Yuga implants doubts. We see that. We might think, okay, we affirm in our faith and belief, but then Kali Yuga is sometimes implanting doubts in our head that, okay, maybe this isn't the truth. Maybe this won't bring me happiness. I'm sure we have all sometimes felt these things. But actually to have faith counteracts these doubts. And for us to actually have faith in the movements, faith in the devotees, faith in our leaders, they need to have good character, good qualities. So when we actually ourselves try to develop these qualities and characteristics, it will actually build faith in people to come to this movement. Because when they see that, wow, look at these kind, compassionate, caring people, I want to come join that. So it starts with us. We can build faith in the communities by working on our own qualities. So we actually depend on the good qualities of the people in the movement. But yes, it starts with us. Because it's actually going to be our characteristics that convinces people to join. You can be a very serious devotee and very disciplined, but maybe if you're not kind to someone, are they going to want to join us? Not really. No matter how good the philosophy is or how good the prasadam is, if you're not shown kindness, people will leave. So it's actually our qualities that convinces people. And a devotee is what they do. A devotee is not what they do, but who they are. And who is a devotee? Srila Prabhupada, he says, a devotee is a perfect gentleman. I like that. So again, it's all about the qualities. So this being exemplary, like Prithu Maharaj, he's an exemplary leader. Exemplary. I said that funny. And to be exemplary is actually, it's universal. It can be done by anyone, and it is a service that we all can do at any time for however long, no matter what age, you can always be exemplary. Maybe not everyone can do everything, Maybe you cannot cook or make a garland. Maybe you can't do this or that. But you can always be exemplary. And you can do that at any time, no matter what circumstance you're in. So, this king, Maharaj Prithu, this is from Bhagavatam, is the best amongst those who are following religious principles. As such, he will engage everyone in the pursuit of religious principles and thus protect those principles. So Prithu Maharaj was so exemplary because he himself followed the religious principles. And he engaged everyone else to follow. He also didn't just follow for himself. He did it so he can be an example. I mean, he's a Shakti Avesha avatar. He's got the empowerment of the Lord. But here he wanted to be an example for everyone and engage everyone else as well. So we see that it's very difficult to make others follow this path, to take Bhakti Yoga seriously. But we can always inspire people with our good qualities. If you, one of our days at BYS, we went to the university and we were talking about, are there any things about ourselves that we do not like? And everyone had something to say. They said, maybe sometimes I get very angry. Maybe I'm very impatient. I can be selfish. I can be all of these things. So when they see devotees, who are trying to overcome these bad qualities and overcome these bad things in the heart, it inspires people because then they think, I can also be like that. I can also be a better version of myself. So Srila Prabhupada also in the purport of today's verse, he says that in the present moment, no one actually cares to hear about Prithu Maharaj or follow in his footsteps. So actually, no nation in this world will be happy, and no one will actually be progressive in spiritual understanding. So this verse is not only a glorification of Prithu Maharaj, but it's also an instruction of the importance of hearing. And in the Srimad Bhagavatam, especially in the first two cantos, the importance of hearing is emphasized, especially for the sake of liberation. And what is this liberation? This liberation means freedom from the miseries that are inflicted upon us from living in this world. We all get angry, we all get envious, we are all very much affected. So this liberation means we are free from all of these kinds of afflictions. But also it's mentioned that listening with attention and respect, it means we can also achieve that unflinching faith in Krishna, and we can have direct association with Krishna. And that unflinching faith in Krishna, that means we also become fearless. Because when you have full faith that Krishna has got your back, he knows what's best for you, then you're never scared, you'll never be fearful. And when you're not fearful, you can actually feel at peace, and you can actually feel happy. So hearing about Prithu Maharaj, hearing about any devotees, and hearing about the pastimes of Krishna in the Bhagavatam, it cleanses the hearts of lust and anger and hankerings, lamentation and so on. And then when we are actually free from all of these dirty things in the heart, then we can actually relish Bhagavatam. Sometimes, yes, we come to Bhagavatam class or we try read Bhagavatam class, but it's more out of a duty for now, I know that for myself. It's like, okay, I must do this, it is good for me. But we want to get to that point where we actually relish it. We're like, oh my word, I want to read about Prithu Maharaj again and again and again, forever and ever, So that is actually what it means to relish, but we're not 100% there yet. But the more we hear, the more we try to listen with attention and respect, the more we can relish. And then when we can relish, we can actually feel the Lord's presence when we are reading Bhagavatam, or when we're hearing, or when we're chanting, or when we're in kirtan. So this process of hearing, it's the first process, and it's also the easiest process and the most important process. And actually by hearing of Prithu Maharaj, by hearing about Krishna and the pure devotees, we are actually associating with them. And we also hear that by associating with these personalities, we can also develop those good qualities that they have. So, also in Canto 4, Chapter 23, Text 38, it's a little bit further ahead, so we are, spoiler alert. The great sage Maitreya continued, "My dear Vidura, I have, as far as possible, spoken the narrations about Prithu Maharaj, which enrich one's devotional attitude. Whoever takes advantage of these benefits also goes back home, back to Godhead, like Maharaj Prithu. Whoever with great reverence and adoration regularly reads, chants, and describes the history of Maharaj Prithu's activities will certainly increase unflinching faith and attraction for the lotus feet of the Lord. The Lord's lotus feet are the boat by which one can cross the ocean of nescience." So, I always like these, when you read in the Bhagavatam and you read like a pastime, it always gives like the benefits, it's like, if you read this, you will be happy. You will get all the wives in the world. You will increase your riches and all of these things. So it's quite funny that even the Bhagavatam is like trying to bribe us, like, please read me, you will be happy. So here it's saying, read about Maharaj Prithu, and then we can go back to the spiritual world. We can have that unflinching faith, and we can become attracted to Krishna. So this hearing, it's a very important service to Krishna. And unless we engage in the service of Krishna, we won't become attached to him. So by hearing, we get more and more attachment to Krishna. And attending Mangal Arti, doing Kirtan, chanting with the devotees, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, that's been in Vrindavan. So this whole morning we've been, doing the morning program. We're in Vrindavan, Like, Ujjwala just came back from India. She was in Vrindavan for a bit, and you never left. You are still there. So we can always be in Vrindavan. So Maharaj Prithu, he, obviously he's a Shakti Vaishya avatar, so he didn't appear like us. The Lord, empowered him, and he appeared so he can teach us, how a leader should behave, how any of us should behave. And so everything is actually there in the Bhagavatam. Everything that you need to know is all in the Bhagavatam. And actually hearing about the glories of the pure devotees and hearing of the glories of Krishna, it's not different from the Lord, because the result is we get purified when we hear these pastimes. And, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that the one who is the devotee of my devotee is my devotee. So, by glorifying his devotees, by reading about them, that is actually the most pleasing to Krishna. So we know that the purpose of our human life, it's actually to understand to cultivate that spiritual understanding of who we are and our relationship with Krishna. Other than that, there actually is nothing else. So it's very auspicious for us to come and hear and discuss Prithu Maharaj, because ultimately it leads to that spiritual realization. About any of the pure devotees, if we read about the 6 Goswamis or any of Krishna's dear devotees, it ultimately leads to that spiritual realization. And it will lead to the devotion to Krishna, which will ultimately make us happy. Because, if, let's say you have a child, if you glorify the child to the mother becomes happy. You're like, oh, my child is so good, And that's Krishna. When we are glorifying his devotees, he's much happier, actually. So, so the scripture says, serve devotees, get the association, and that's how we get the blessings of Krishna. So that's why we can all come together, come to the temple, associate with like-minded people who are also on the spiritual path, and then we can truly get the blessings of Krishna. So I will stop there if anyone wants to share anything or add anything. Whatever question. Radhika Jivan Prabhu, do you want to share anything? Ujjwala? Gora? Share wisdom, Gora. Okay. Just use the microphone.
So, Hare Krishna, thank you for the class. So I wanted to ask about something you said. You said sometimes reading philosophy it makes us proud. So how can we? You said sometimes reading philosophy it makes one's proud. Yeah. So I wanted to know how can we handle that? Yes. Yes, from reading philosophy.
Yeah, so it's very likely that we will at some point be proud of something, even in, spiritual life. In actually like the Madhurya Kadambini, the book, it talks about Taranga Ranjani, which means you are enjoying like the benefits and the kind of results you get from devotional service. So it happens and it's very normal. And even in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it even talks about how the Bhagavatam can be like, the Bhagavatam can almost fully purify you. But it is almost because, we can become proud. So like I was also saying earlier, that when we share what we know and share whatever we have, then that really helps avoid that pride, And because when we are proud, it means we think we're better than everyone. And what does that mean? That's enviousness. So sharing what we have, sharing the mercy is very good for that. And also glorifying others, glorifying and empowering others. That also really helps with, to kind of minimize our pride and our enviousness. For like example, you see someone else, like let's say you are learning Srimad Bhagavatam, but you're now getting proud of your knowledge. But now if you share it with others and you glorify, their efforts, but honestly, don't just like make up glorifications, like it must be from a true place. When we are trying to see the good qualities in others, that really helps to kind of minimize our pride and enviousness, just by giving other people the opportunity, not making everything about ourselves. But yeah, don't worry, it's like very normal for everyone. We all have that. You also just have to, kind of pray. I remember Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj, he was giving a class many years ago, not many years ago, like 2 years ago or something, for like Sunday Love Feast. And he said like, we can pray to Krishna, like, Krishna, please, reveal to me how much of a fool I actually am. But do it gently, because we do have that pride. So sometimes we can just pray, please, keep me humble or whatever. But do it gently, because, sometimes that purification can be a bit too much. But the point is, by recognizing it, that's also a good step. So if you recognize it, that's very good. Because we can go our whole lives not seeing it, and that's even worse. When you're proud of something, but you don't even realize it, So it's okay. So it's always good to introspect, see what is our true intention of doing what we are doing. Are we learning these things and trying these things because we want to be pleasing to Krishna and do more service, or are we doing it for our own ego? So to sometimes see what is our intention, that also helps a lot. Was that okay? Okay, thank you. Okay. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Srila Prabhupada ki.